Hello there. Close your eyes, relax your body, and imagine yourself drifting back hundreds of millions of years to a time when the earth was still covered by primeval forests and giant creatures walked through the morning mist. Tonight, we will journey together through 100 truths about dinosaurs, the secrets hidden within every breath of time. Fact 21. The Cretaceous period. The age of the last giants. You can hear the ground trembling beneath your feet, the wind sweeping through the dense forests, and the distant roar echoing from beyond the horizon. No longer is this the warm and gentle Jurassic. This age, the Cretaceous, is where the final giants step onto Earth's grand stage of history. Around 145 million years ago, Earth once again shed its skin. The continents drifted farther apart, the oceans widened, and the climate began to change. The Cretaceous was not a peaceful time. It was a powerful symphony where volcanoes, seas, forests, and tempests played together in fierce harmony. The Earth was warmer than in the Jurassic, but far more extreme. Heavy rains, raging storms, ever-shifting coastlines. Flowering plants appeared for the first time, unfolding a world of color and fragrance. And in that new world, the last of the giants were born. Far to the north of ancient Africa, a vast river wound its way through a humid delta, and within it lived a strange creature, Spinosaurus. Unlike all predators before it, Spinosaurus was half water, half land, standing over 6 meters tall, stretching up to 18 meters long. It bore a colossal sail of spines, rising high above its back. As it moved, the water split around it like a parting sea, its long jaws lined with sharp teeth, not for tearing dinosaur flesh, but for hunting enormous fish. Spinosaurus was proof of extraordinary adaptation, a carnivore that could swim, hunt beneath the waves, and mold its body into the perfect tool of 2 worlds. In that river, Earth was experimenting with something new, a fusion of power and agility. In Western North America, millions of years after Spinosaurus, another monster ascended the throne. Tyrannosaurus Rex, 6 meters tall, over 12 meters long, one bite strong enough to crush bone. Rex was not the largest, but it was the most efficient. Its body was a masterpiece of evolution. Bones light, yet immensely strong. Jaw muscles mightier than any land creature before or after. Eyes facing forward, granting its stereoscopic vision, the ability to judge distance with deadly precision. It wasn't just a predator, it was the final king of the dinosaurs. When T-Rex walked, the earth itself bowed. Opposite the T-Rex stood those who would not yield. Triceratops, a giant herbivore. Its skull stretched over 2 meters long, 3 sharp horns, and a vast frilled shield like the armor of a war god. They lived in herds, and when danger came, the males would line up shoulder to shoulder, heads lowered, horns aimed forward, a living wall that nothing could pierce. Amid fields of flowers and swirling sands, the warriors of Triceratops stood proud, fortresses of flesh upon the ancient plains. Before the Cretaceous, forests were filled only with cone-bearers, pines, cycads, and ferns. But then, a miracle of evolution occurred. The first flowers bloomed, tiny petals, thin as breath, yet fragrant. Their scent lured insects, and for the first time, symbiosis was born. Ancient bees, primitive butterflies, and beetles began carrying pollen far and wide, spreading new life across every patch of Earth. The Cretaceous was not only the age of monsters, but the dawn of beauty itself. As the petals opened, the planet learned to smile. In the skies above, the pterosaurs, descendants of the Jurassic, reached their zenith. A colossal species named Quetzalcoatlus spread wings over 12 meters wide and stood as tall as a giraffe when grounded. They soared for miles on end, riding warm air currents from the land, and touched down with the grace of falling feathers. In the morning light, they looked like the kites of gods. Beneath the waves, the world thrived too. Mosasaurus, Plesiosaurus, and Elasmosaurus glided through warm seas, their long bodies, sharp teeth, and fins slicing the water like blades. The Cretaceous oceans were Eden reborn. Algae bloomed, coral spread, squid, ancient turtles, and early sharks filled the depths. Sometimes, when a Mosasaurus surfaced, the sunlight turned it into a moving mountain. The sea was no longer a place of peace, but a kingdom ruled by lords without crowns. The Cretaceous was warmer than any age before, but it carried the winds of unrest. High CO2 thickened the air with moisture. Seas rose, and coastlines became endless swamps. On land, rains poured, forests drowned, deserts shrank. It was a time when life flourished more than ever, yet was more fragile than it had ever been. Earth was preparing for something immense, an end no one could escape. From the feathered dinosaurs of the late Jurassic, true birds now soared across the skies. Small, light, their feathers helped them stay warm and glide through the wind. As the sun rose, flocks of ancient birds flew above meadows, casting shadows over grazing triceratops. The first songs echoed across the world, the voices of dinosaurs turning into memory. By the end of the Cretaceous, Earth seemed to reach a fleeting perfection. Green forests, deep oceans, skies alive with wings. Life flourished in every corner. But then, a fragment of stone from the heavens drew near. No one knew it yet, but every breeze, every raindrop carried within it the omen of an ending. When the planet reached its greatest height, it had already begun its fall. Fact 22. Spinosaurus, the monster of ancient rivers. The air is thick with humidity and the scent of salt water. In the distance, the sun rises behind a veil of mist, illuminating the vast wetlands of ancient North Africa, a place where rivers, forests, and seas merged into a living web of ecosystems. There, a massive creature parts the waters, its back rising like a colossal sail upon the still river. It is Spinosaurus aegyptiacus, the Egyptian spined lizard, the greatest predator this planet has ever known. Spinosaurus lived about 100 million years ago in the swampy lands that are now North Africa, a region that was not a desert back then, but a labyrinth of rivers, wetlands, and mangrove forests. The Kem River flowed through the plains where ancient crocodiles, turtles, bony fish, and aquatic dinosaurs coexisted. The earth was warm, humid, and heavy rains kept the rivers swollen and alive. Here, Spinosaurus didn't just live, it ruled. It was not a hunter of the land. It was the ghost of the river, the fusion of water and flesh, of predator and current. Spinosaurus measured about 15–18 meters long, weighed between 6 and 8 tons, and possessed a body design unlike any other carnivorous dinosaur. Its skull was long, narrow, and pointed, its teeth straight like a crocodile's, perfect for gripping slippery prey underwater. Its forearms were long and muscular, its claws curved like fishhooks. The hind legs were shorter, and the tail long and flattened like a paddle, helping it swim with the grace of a modern crocodile. On its back rose a series of towering spines, each nearly 2 meters high, forming a gigantic sail, the emblem of its species. Scientists still debate its purpose. Was the sail used to absorb heat, to regulate body temperature, or to display dominance during mating? Perhaps all three, because Spinosaurus was not merely a predator, it was a symbol of evolutionary power. Unlike the land-hunting T-Rex, Spinosaurus spent most of its life in the water. It stalked its prey like a crocodile, lurking in the current, only its snout and eyes breaking the surface. Sensory pits along its muzzle detected the slightest ripple, a fish gliding past, a tremor of water, enough to trigger an explosive strike. Its jaws snapped shut, and the river fell silent again, as if nothing had happened. In the world of Spinosaurus, silence was the beginning of the storm. Unlike the pack-hunting raptors, Spinosaurus was a solitary ruler. Alone, it drifted through long rivers, passed through ancient mangroves, and claimed every stretch of water it entered. Beneath the surface, it hunted fish. On land, it scavenged the drowned remains of other dinosaurs. Its solitude was not weakness, it was freedom. In a chaotic world, it was the one who needed no one. Spinosaurus lived like the river itself, flowing alone, yet carrying the power of the entire stream. A scorching noon, the river lies still as a mirror of bronze, while schools of giant bony fish swim beneath the muddy water. From the shadows, a vast shape begins to move. It glides silently, its tail flexing, propelling the body forward. In an instant, its teeth flash in the sunlight, and the fish is gone. Spinosaurus rises, water cascading from its back, sunlight shimmering upon its sail, making it glow like a moving mountain. It is a ritual of life, not savage, not bloody, but a natural exchange of energy between two ancient beings. The sail of Spinosaurus, formed from spines nearly 2 meters tall, remains one of evolution's strangest wonders. When sunlight strikes, the sail absorbs heat, helping regulate its body temperature. When the air cools, it can turn toward the sun, soaking up warmth like a living solar panel. During mating season, the sail may have flushed deep red or orange, a blazing display of strength and vitality. The sail of Spinosaurus was not merely bone and flesh, it was the banner of an ancient age. Along the rivers, Spinosaurus was not alone. Creatures like Carcharodontosaurus, another massive predator, nearly 5 meters tall, prowled the banks. When the two met, there was no roar, only the gaze across the water. Both understood that each ruled a different realm. One, king of the land, the other, lord of the rivers. No battle was needed, for they were already too great to prove anything more. Today, the bones of Spinosaurus have been found in Egypt, Morocco, and Niger. Some fossils lie intertwined with remains of giant fish, turtles, and freshwater creatures, clear evidence of its aquatic life. The long, flat tailbones prove it could swim with power, not just wade like other dinosaurs, but actively propel itself, steering with its tail like a fish. Each fossil is a story, each crack a line of ancient script, written in the language of time. Then came a turning point. Earth began to change. The climate dried, the rivers receded, and the watery kingdoms of Spinosaurus vanished. No more great fish, no more flooded forests. Only cracked earth remained. The monster of the rivers went extinct, not because it was weak, but because the world changed faster than it could adapt. Even the mightiest must bow before the power of time. Hundreds of millions of years later, the winds over the Sahara still carry grains of sand that once held the bones of Spinosaurus. And when humans uncovered them, they realized the story of this ancient river hunter was not merely a tale of strength, but a lesson in adaptation, solitude, and the limits of power. The earth forever changes, but the shadow of Spinosaurus, with its towering sail and silent glide, still lingers in the human imagination, a symbol of harmony between destruction and creation. In every wave, perhaps we can still hear its sound, the slow cut of water from a king long gone from this world, yet never truly disappeared. Fact 23. Tyrannosaurus rex, the greatest hunter to walk the earth. The wind sweeps across the ancient plains, carrying with it dust and the deep echoes of a distant world. The ground trembles softly, each step beating like the pulse of the planet itself. Across the open lowlands of ancient North America, 68 million years ago, a colossal shadow emerges, each of its footsteps a declaration of power. It is Tyrannosaurus rex, the final king of the dinosaurs. At this time, Earth had reached the peak of life's abundance. Forests thrived, rivers surged, the air was warm, and the rains frequent. Across the ancient lands of North America, from Montana and Wyoming to the Dakotas, herds of herbivores like Triceratops and Edmontosaurus flourished beneath the golden sun. And at the top of the food chain, standing tall and silent, was Tyrannosaurus rex, the most perfect land predator ever to exist. Every creature had an enemy, but T-Rex had none. Tyrannosaurus rex stood 6 meters tall, 13 meters long, and weighed over 8 tons, a living biological engine forged by millions of years of evolution. Its massive head, nearly 600 kilograms, held dagger-like teeth up to 30 centimeters long. With a single bite, it could unleash over 6 tons of force, 10 times stronger than a lion, enough to crush bone to dust. Its body was a masterpiece of balance, powerful hind legs thick with muscle, and a long tail serving as a perfect counterweight when it moved. Many once laughed at its tiny arms, but scientists now believe they were incredibly strong, designed to grip prey tight in the final killing bite. Every part of T-Rex's body was a reminder that nature does not strive for perfection, only efficiency. Unlike many other dinosaurs, T-Rex's eyes faced forward, granting it binocular vision, the ability to see in depth and judge distance precisely. This allowed it to gauge how far, how fast, and where its prey would move next, combined with an extraordinarily keen sense of smell, so sharp it could detect carrion from over 10 kilometers away. T-Rex did not need to run fast. It only needed to walk in the right direction. Every creature ran. T-Rex simply walked. You can almost imagine its roar, deep, drawn out, vibrating through the ground. It did not sound like a lion, but like wind howling through a deep canyon, mixed with the heartbeat of the earth. When T-Rex roared, herds of Triceratops miles away scattered in panic. It was not just the sound that terrified. It was its presence, even unseen. Every living thing could feel something enormous approaching. One misty morning, a herd of Edmontosaurus grazed quietly by the swamp. In the shadows of the forest, a T-Rex waited, its massive body almost silent. When it lunged, dew scattered like shattered glass, and within 3 strides, it was upon its prey. Jaws clamped shut, bones snapped under crushing pressure, and blood and mist burst together like crimson fireworks. No one escaped. Speed was not T-Rex's weapon. Timing was. It did not hunt because it was hungry. It hunted because that was its nature to exist. T-Rex was not only a hunter, but also a scavenger. And that was what made it survive so long. When heavy rains swept the plains, the bodies of dead dinosaurs were carried downstream. T-Rex would follow the scent of blood and decay, feeding on what others had left behind. That did not make it weak. It made it wise. A ruler does not always fight. He knows when to wait. True power lies not in strength, but in patience. Studies suggest that T-Rexes may have lived in pairs or small groups. Some fossils have been found together, hinting they might have hunted cooperatively or guarded their young. Their eggs were buried in the ground, and their hatchlings were barely a meter long. But within just a few years, they grew like storms, gaining tens of kilograms each day. The power of T-Rex lay not only in its size, but in its rapid growth, a sign of a planet rushing toward its own end. Nothing could rival T-Rex. Its only enemy was itself. Many T-Rex fossils bear bite marks from their own kind, especially around the head and neck. Fights between individuals were likely over territory or mates, each bite strong enough to scar for life. The king could not escape violence, for violence was the language of the crown. Around 66 million years ago, Earth began to shudder. Temperatures shifted, acid rains fell from the sky, and colossal storms tore through the forests. Somewhere in the heavens, a mountain-sized asteroid hurtled toward Earth faster than sound. Within minutes of impact, fire engulfed the skies. Darkness swallowed the world for years. Plants died, the food chain collapsed, and the king of the land had no kingdom left to rule. Tyrannosaurus rex vanished, along with thousands of other species, but its name lived on. The colossal fossils humankind unearthed told stories of power, solitude, and the fragility of those who once ruled. From the roar of T-Rex, humanity learned this. Every strength has its limit, and every era must one day end. Yet deep in the planet's memory, its footsteps still echo. Each time thunder rolls, each time the ground trembles, something seems to whisper once again, "I was the king." Fact 24. Triceratops, the crowned warrior of the Cretaceous's final days. The western wind sweeps across the ancient plains. The scent of grass, the fragrance of soil, and the warmth of the late afternoon sun fill the air. Far away, the ground trembles faintly. Gigantic silhouettes move slowly beneath streaks of sunlight. Each step resounds like a deep drumbeat, echoing through nature. They are Triceratops, warriors bearing 3 horns and bone shields that glimmer beneath the evening sky. They are the last gentle kings of a world nearing its end. Around 68 million years ago, in what is now North America, vast plains stretched from Montana to South Dakota. covered in low grasses, shrubs, and ancient ferns. It was the final age of the Cretaceous period, an era when forests receded and grasslands rose. And amidst that landscape, Triceratops moved like living fortresses, standing nearly 3 meters tall, over 9 meters long, and weighing 10 tons. They were the last of the Ceratopsidae, a lineage of horned, frilled, herbivorous dinosaurs. If Tyrannosaurus rex was the king of power, then Triceratops was the king of perseverance. The head of Triceratops made up nearly 1/3 of its body length. At the front were 3 sharp horns, 2 over 1 meter long above its eyes, and 1 shorter horn upon its nose. Behind them rose a massive bony frill, shielding its neck and shoulders from T-Rex's crushing jaws. That shield was not only for defense, it was a symbol, a natural crown of its age. Paleontologists believe that each individual bore unique patterns on its frill, used for recognition and display during mating season. Nature did not only craft weapons, it created art in defense. Triceratops did not live alone. They traveled in large herds, dozens moving together, protecting their young by forming circles. A living fortress. When a T-Rex appeared on the horizon, the herd did not scatter. The largest adults turned outward, lowered their heads, and waited. It was a majestic sight, an army at dusk. The setting sun pierced through clouds of dust, glistening upon rows of horns like shining spears. In a world ruled by violence, they chose unity over flight, and that is why they endured until the very end. Triceratops did not need to run fast. Their sheer mass made every predator think twice. They moved slowly, rhythmically, their short legs strong as stone pillars. Each step made the earth tremble, a deep, steady heartbeat of the planet itself. Each morning, the herd journeyed toward moist lowlands, where ferns and shrubs grew thick. The sound of chewing leaves blended with the whisper of wind, a soft melody of survival. When mating season arrived, male Triceratops faced one another, not to kill, but to prove strength. 2 giants lowered their heads, horns clashing with a thunderous crack. Earth flew, dust danced in golden light. When it ended, the victor lifted his head high, his bone frill glowing beneath the sun, a biological crown grander than any human creation. Nature does not seek glory, yet sometimes glory blooms from sheer strength. Triceratops did not flee from T-Rex. They faced it. A precise charge could pierce the predator's belly or shatter its ribs. Fossils show T-Rex bones marked by Triceratops horns, and likewise, Triceratops skulls bearing massive bite scars around the neck. It was a dialogue of blood between 2 final icons. Each battle, a ritual of survival, a dance between life and death, set to the rhythm of time itself. The climate then was warmer and drier than the Jurassic, yet rains still came regularly. Vegetation shifted from dense forests to open plains. the first flowering shrubs appeared, attracting insects, bees, and tiny ancient birds. Triceratops were part of that living canvas, feeding on leaves, clearing paths in the forest, letting sunlight reach the young plants below. They did not merely live, they nurtured their world. Night in the Cretaceous was cold and filled with sound. Insects hummed and pterosaurs flapped across the moonlit sky. The herd rested upon the plain, the young at the center, the adults encircling them, their breathing slow and steady, a rhythm of meditation. Under the moon, their horns shimmered silver, like silent torches guarding the passage of time. Then one morning, the sky changed. The light dimmed, the sun seemed veiled. A fragment of heaven, a meteor, was racing toward Earth, carrying the light of the end. No one knew. The herd of Triceratops still walked, still fed, still breathed. They were unafraid, for they did not understand the meaning of extinction. When fire rained from the sky, forests burned, the ground quaked, seas rose, their world vanished. Yet they perished as silent warriors, standing proud within the storm. Their death was not an end, it was the solemn farewell of an age. Today, Triceratops skulls are unearthed across North America, each horn, each frill telling its own story. Some still bear the bite marks of T-Rex. Others are found with traces of ancient mud and fossilized flowers, proof that they once lived in a vibrant, beautiful world. They are long gone, yet the spirit of Triceratops endures. In every creature that guards its kin, in every being that chooses to stand firm in the face of danger. For courage never goes extinct, it merely changes form and continues to breathe within the heartbeat of the earth. Fact 25. The last pterosaur and the sky of farewell. Close your eyes. Do you hear it? The wind, the beating of wings, the distant cries echoing down from an ancient sky. Above, among the golden clouds of a Cretaceous dawn, a colossal shadow glides past, a wingspan stretching over 12 meters, greater than any flying creature that ever lived. It is Quetzalcoatlus northropi, one of the last of the pterosaurs, and the keeper of the heavens in the final days of the dinosaur world. During the Cretaceous period, Earth was filled with forests, seas, and volcanoes. The air was thicker, warmer, and the wind carried the moist breath of a young ocean. That ancient sky was not the clear blue we know today, but a hazy veil of pale gold and bluish hues, tinted by dust and vapor. Within that space, the pterosaurs, descendants of the first flyers from the Jurassic, still ruled the skies. They were wings that belonged to no bird, beings who had learned to touch the clouds, hundreds of millions of years before humankind. When they looked upward, they saw no boundaries, only absolute freedom. The body of a pterosaur was a masterpiece of delicate evolution. Its bones were hollow, thin as reeds, yet strong enough to withstand fierce winds. Its wings were made of taut skin, stretched between an elongated finger and its body, smooth as silk, supple as air. Despite its enormous size, it weighed no more than a small tiger. Massive chest muscles allowed it to launch from the ground. One leap, one powerful beat of its wings, and the earth immediately fell away. In a world of stone and blood, the pterosaur was a silent stream of grace. Quetzalcoatlus lived around 66 million years ago in the ancient plains of North America, what is now Texas. Its wings spanned over 12 meters. Its height matched a 2-story house, and it could fly hundreds of kilometers in a single day, its wings slicing sunlight like blades. Its name, Quetzalcoatlus, was inspired by the feathered serpent god of ancient Mesoamerica, a symbol of unity between earth and sky. It flew in silence, its shadow sweeping across forests, grasslands and seas, like the hand of time drawing its final lines upon the Cretaceous heavens. Pterosaurs did not fly like birds. They glided. They understood every breeze, every thermal current, and used them to stay aloft for hours without a single wing beat. Like monks of the air, they did not fight the wind. They became one with it. When humans struggled to conquer nature, pterosaurs only needed to listen. Their diets were diverse. Some ate fish, some hunted small reptiles, others scavenged along the coasts. Quetzalcoatlus was a clever omnivore, capable of long flights in search of food and dry resting grounds. When flying over swamps, it could dive like a spear, snatching prey in its long beak, then rise again, as lightly as if it had never landed. On land, it walked on all fours, slow but dignified steps. Though weighing hundreds of kilograms, it moved as softly as a shadow. Every motion of the pterosaur was a dance. At the end of the Cretaceous, volcanoes erupted endlessly across the continents. Ash spread into the heavens, turning the sky into a canvas of smoky orange and grey. Yet, that very ash created the most radiant dawns. Sunlight filtered through the haze, painting streaks of red and gold that glowed like burning silk. Pterosaurs flew through that light, their wings merging with the sun, creating the most beautiful image the Cretaceous world would ever know. Every dawn then was both a beginning and a farewell, but soon birds, the feathered descendants of small dinosaurs, began to fill the skies. Smaller, faster, they took over the realms the pterosaurs once ruled. There was less and less sky to soar, and fewer calm seas below. The pterosaurs retreated into distant lands, where the winds were still pure and the light was still free. They did not lose, they chose to leave. When an era changes, the wise do not resist. They simply fly higher until they disappear from sight. And then, one day, like any other, a new light appeared, brighter than the sun itself. A giant meteor came crashing from space, piercing the atmosphere, striking Earth with a force greater than billions of atomic bombs. The flash blinded the heavens. Shockwaves tore through forests. Volcanoes awoke in unison, and the sky became a sea of fire. Quetzalcoatlus, flying high above, saw the world beneath drown in ash. It flew on and on until there was nowhere left to land. The sky had nurtured it, and now the sky took it back. After the impact, the atmosphere was choked with dust. Sunlight vanished for years. Temperatures plummeted. Plants died, and the creatures that depended on them followed. The last pterosaurs faded in the dark, not from weakness, but because their sky had gone out. They did not fall in battle. They dissolved into silence, like the wind leaving a world that had forgotten how to fly. Today, whenever a bird spreads its wings across the sky, you are seeing the legacy of the pterosaurs, their principles of aerodynamics, hollow bones, skin membranes, weightless balance, became the foundation for all future flyers. And in the soft morning breeze, perhaps still lingers the breath of those who first touched the clouds. They never truly disappeared. They simply flew beyond the reach of time. Fact 26. Mosasaurus, the last king of the ancient sea. 66 million years ago, while Tyrannosaurus Rex ruled the land, beneath the towering waves, Mosasaurus held the throne of the ocean. The seas then were unlike the oceans of today. The water was warmer, the sea levels higher, and everywhere teemed with coral reefs, plankton, and gigantic prehistoric fish. Shallow seas stretched across Europe, North Africa, and South America, forming vast inland oceans, a world of their own, where everything moved slowly, yet perilously. The land had its king. But beneath the waves, Mosasaurus was the silence with teeth. Mosasaurus measured 15 to 17 meters in length, weighed nearly 15 tons, and its body was the culmination of millions of years of evolution. Its massive head, with inward curving, razor-sharp teeth, each one a perfectly honed blade for slicing through slippery flesh. Its front limbs had transformed into flippers, its tail long and flattened, propelling it like a monstrous shark. It could surge forward in an instant, rising from the darkness to strike its prey in a blink. No sound ever heralded its approach, for Mosasaurus was the silence before the storm. Though it lived beneath the waves, Mosasaurus still had to surface for air, just like modern whales. Each time it rose, a column of water burst upward, sunlight glinting across its grey-blue patterned skin, and in that fleeting moment, it seemed like the ghost of the sea itself. Then it would dive again, slowly, almost meditatively, and vanish into depths untouched by light. Its life was a rhythm between light and shadow, between breath and silence. The diet of Mosasaurus was terrifying. Large fish, sea turtles, giant squid, even smaller mosasaurs. Scientists call it an apex predator, a creature with no natural enemies. When hunting, it lunged from the darkness, its jaws gaping wide, creating a vacuum that sucked prey inward. Its jaw joints were flexible, allowing it to open more than 120 degrees, swallowing victims whole like a serpent. Even the throat was lined with backward-facing teeth, ensuring that once bitten, nothing could escape. Mosasaurus did not hunt for pleasure. It hunted as part of balance beneath the surface. Time did not flow as it did on land. Every movement was slow, every sound muffled. Only the shimmer of light on scales and the soft drift of sand beneath the waves. There, Mosasaurus drifted like part of the ocean's pulse, a creature that understood every current, sensing the faint electric signals of other beings through its skin. It had no need for haste. Time beneath the sea was a circle, not a line, and at the center of that circle, Mosasaurus was the stillness itself. In the ancient seas, Mosasaurus shared its world with Plesiosaurus, Ichthyosaurus, and the giant prehistoric shark Cretoxyrhina. But every one of them, no matter how large, kept their distance from this monster. When Mosasaurus passed, schools of fish scattered, turtles dove, even the long-necked plesiosaurs turned away, not from fear, but from the instinct of survival. In the deep, every creature knew to stay silent when the king swam by. Every act of Mosasaurus shaped the entire ecosystem. When it fed, the remains sank to nourish microorganisms. When it hunted, small fish fled, creating cycles of survival. When it died, its body became an undersea city, sustaining life on the ocean floor for years. Such was the cycle of the ancient sea, where destruction and creation were merely two sides of the same wave. The ocean knew no good or evil, only balance, and Mosasaurus was its scale. Then one day, the sky darkened and the sea rose in a rage unlike anything before. A meteor struck. Dust and ash veiled the atmosphere. Sunlight disappeared, and ocean temperatures plummeted. Plankton died, food chains collapsed, and the once living ocean became a vast, silent grave. Mosasaurus, the king of the sea, swam on, chasing schools of fish that no longer existed. It grew hungry, weaker, and one day it simply drifted, a long shadow in cold, dark water, until the gears of time stopped turning. The ocean lost its king, but in that silence, a new world began to form. Fossils of Mosasaurus have been found across the globe, in the Netherlands, Morocco, and North America. Some skeletons remain nearly intact, entombed within ancient seabed stone, as if sleeping, not dead. From those bones, humans have redrawn its shape and realized that the oceans once had an empire. as mighty as the one on land. When you gaze upon the sea today, remember that deep beneath, there was once a silent king looking up at the sky. No kingdom lasts forever, but the sea remembers everything. The crash of waves, the whisper of wind, and the rhythm of tides all carry the lingering breath of Mosasaurus. Perhaps somewhere in the heart of the modern ocean, within the dreams of a sleeping whale, there drifts a faint memory of the king who was. For even in extinction, those who once belonged to the sea never truly leave it. Fact 27. The rise of birds. When dinosaurs learned to fly after the colossal asteroid impact 66 million years ago, the sky was veiled in ash. Light faded, plants withered, and the great ones, even Tyrannosaurus and Triceratops, vanished. But amid the fallen branches, in the small surviving nests, tiny trembling creatures endured. The feathered dinosaurs. They were not mighty, they were not large, but they possessed a gift evolution had long prepared feathers. And from that gift, the story of birds, the heirs of the sky, began. When strength collapsed, lightness rose. Fossils like Archaeopteryx found in Germany are seen as the bridge between dinosaurs and modern birds. Archaeopteryx had teeth, clawed wings, and a long bony tail, traits of a dinosaur. Yet it also bore true feathers, hollow, lightweight structures capable of lift. It could not fly far, but it could glide between treetops, using its wings to steer and balance. A small creature, but within those wings lay the seed of the future. For a long time after the catastrophe, the earth was silent. No more roars, only the sound of wind and falling rain. Then slowly, from the cooled ashes, small life returned. Shrubs, insects, then young forests. Ancient birds came there. They ate seeds, worms, and spread across the planet. While the giants had perished, the small wings claimed the world. When the ground offered no refuge, the sky became home. Feathers, one of nature's most delicate inventions. Light, hollow, yet strong enough to withstand fierce winds. Each feather is made of thousands of tiny filaments, interlocked like a living fabric. At first, feathers might have served only for warmth, but gradually, evolution turned them into instruments of freedom. Bodies grew lighter, bones became hollow, and the first wing beats echoed through the misty air. Wings were not born to flee, they were born to see the world from above. Over the millions of years that followed, many ancient bird groups emerged. Confuciusornis, living in China, toothless, with a beaked mouth. Ichthyornis, a diver and fish hunter. Hesperornis, living fully in water, using its wings like paddles. Each was an evolutionary experiment, a new way to survive in a changed world. They differed, yet shared one essence: lightness. After every extinction, nature rewrites the code of life with a finer, gentler hand. Not only bodies, but bird brains evolved rapidly. Studies show that ancient birds already had developed centers for vision, balance, and the ability to navigate by Earth's magnetic field. That means they did not fly aimlessly. They knew their way, remembered their nests, remembered the wind. Thus began the memory of the sky. Each wing beat was a choice, each flight a conscious journey, and something extraordinary happened. After millions of years, the world lost its roars, but gained songs. Birds did not just fly, they sang. Song became the planet's new language, to call mates, mark territories, and send signals through forests. From chaos, nature composed music. When dinosaurs roared, the earth trembled. When birds sang, the human heart trembled. The microscopic structure of feathers allows them to reflect light, creating brilliant colors: green, blue, yellow, red, not from pigment, but from the bending of light within each feather. Nature had learned to paint with light, and so the world after the Cretaceous was no longer only gray and brown, but the first vivid painting in Earth's history. When wings opened, the planet found its colors again. As the continents drifted apart, birds began to migrate, following winds, seasons, and the sun. They flew over seas, across volcanoes, and into lands untouched by life. Each flight path was a thread of existence, weaving continents together in an invisible web of survival. Wings transformed Earth into a single, boundless world. No borders, only sky. Today, every bird you see, from the smallest sparrow to the mighty eagle, carries within it the bloodline of dinosaurs. Bones, lungs, circulation, all are legacies of those ancient ancestors. When you hear a songbird, you are hearing the echo of the past. When you see wings spread beneath the sun, you are witnessing a miracle written from ashes. The apocalypse did not end life. It merely changed its shape, from claws to wings, from roars to songs. Fact 28. The last forests. Rebirth after destruction, and the new world after the Cretaceous. Earth had just emerged from a nightmare of fire and ash. The first forests of the Paleogene were beginning to grow, slowly, fragilely, but full of persistence. And this is the story of life after annihilation. After the asteroid impact in Yucatan, the ground split open. Forests burned and the atmosphere filled with smoke and ash. For years, the sun could not fully shine. Temperatures plunged and the planetary winter spread across the globe. More than 70% of all life on Earth vanished. Even the once dominant Tyrannosaurus and Mosasaurus were erased from existence. the world sank into shadow and ruin. But within the layers of ash, within the charred soil, tiny seeds lay waiting. And when everything seemed to have ended, life had only fallen asleep for a while. Years passed. The sky slowly cleared. Ash drifted into the seas. For the first time, sunlight touched Earth again. As those rays pierced through the clouds, they met the seeds waiting in the damp soil. The faint warmth awakened life. The first plants sprouted, small, frail, yet carrying the memory of ancient forests. Ferns, mosses, and flowering plants returned, weaving a new green tapestry over a reborn planet. Light did not ask who had survived. It simply shone, because that is its nature. The first young forests were unlike those of the Jurassic or Cretaceous. No more towering trees reaching dozens of meters high. Instead came low forests, slender trunks, open canopies. Paleobotanists have found fossilized pollen in Paleogene rocks, signs that the first flowering forests had begun to appear. Gone were the giant ferns. Now came plants with blossoms, fruits, and seeds, food for the creatures that had begun to rise again. These forests no longer belonged to dinosaurs, but to small beings, birds, mammals, and insects. The death of the giants was the chance of the small. After the catastrophe, the survivors, ancient mice, lizards, birds, and frogs, began to spread beneath the trees. Soft-furred creatures found shelter. They ate seeds, fruits, insects. They were quick, clever, and could climb. From this point, mammals began their long journey to become the new rulers of the planet. Without claws, they had memory. Without size, they had curiosity. After tens of silent years, the first sound to return to the world was not a roar, but a song. Birds that had survived flew over the young forests, dropping seeds from their wings. Their flight carried forests farther, scattering life from one place to another. Forests and birds, two instruments playing the same melody of rebirth. If death was a rest note, song was the first melody of returning life. Before the disaster, CO2 levels were far higher. After the impact, ash reduced the greenhouse effect. Then gradually, as forests grew again, Earth stabilized. The air grew cooler and clearer. The wind carried scents of sap and moist soil. It was the planet's first breath of youth. Scientists call this era the Age of Recovery, the Paleogene recovery. Nature never forgets how to breathe. It only needs time to remember. Over the next 10 million years, forests expanded and animals adapted to this new life. Birds learned to build nests in trees. Small mammals evolved sharper teeth and nimble hands. Insects created networks of pollen across the land. This was the reboot of life. No longer giant or dazzling, but intricate and intelligent. The world did not return to what it was. it became something different, and because of that, more beautiful. Within these new forests, small mammals were evolving, some into primates, some into herbivores, and some slowly began to stand on two legs. Everything was still far away, but even then, the seed of humanity had been planted. Each seed carried within it the memory of the first forest. The forest rose again, not with thunder, but with whispers, leaves brushing, birds singing, streams flowing, insects humming. It was not the sound of triumph, but of acceptance. Nature does not argue with death, because it knows everything returns, just in another form. Life does not need noise to endure. It only needs silence to begin again. Today, every forest on Earth, from the Amazon to Borneo, from the Congo to Vietnam, holds within it the memory of that first Paleogene forest. Ancient pollen still sleeps in stone. Modern trees still bear the genetic patterns of their ancestors. When you walk among trees, the scent of damp earth you breathe is the same breath continued from 66 million years ago. A forest is not merely trees. A forest is the living memory of the planet. Fact 29. The heirs of the dinosaurs. The rise of mammals. Imagine this. The world has just survived a nightmare of ash and darkness. Now, the earth is green again. The sun's warmth filters through tender leaves, and in the forest, a small creature cautiously lifts its head, its dark eyes gleaming as it looks around. It is one of the first mammals of the New World. It has no great fangs, no armor of scales, only memory, curiosity, and a heart that knows fear. But it is precisely those things that will change the world. After the extinction of the dinosaurs, Earth was like an empty throne. No longer did giant creatures rule the sky, the land, or the sea. The small ones, those who had lived hidden in the shadows for millions of years, now began to rise. They were small, warm-blooded, soft-furred creatures, able to nurse their young with milk, and active even in the dark. When dinosaurs slept, they moved. When dinosaurs died, they lived. And when peace returned to the world, they stepped into the light. Not strength, but persistence was the key to survival. Mammals had stable body temperatures, fur to keep them warm, and advanced nervous systems that helped them react swiftly and sense keenly. They could smell from afar, hear low frequencies, and remember the paths of the forest. These traits, once insignificant under dinosaur rule, now became weapons of survival. The earliest forms, Purgatorius, Protungulatum, and Leptictidium, ran along branches, feeding on seeds and insects. Their bodies were small, their hearts beat fast, but they knew how to hide, to run, and to wait. In the silence, nature was nurturing intelligence. Fossil skull studies reveal that the brains of mammals developed much faster than those of other creatures. The frontal lobe centers of memory and emotion were beginning to expand. That meant they remembered. They remembered where food was, where predators lurked, where home lay. Memory led to learning. Learning led to evolution. The power of mammals was not in their muscles, but in their memory. As forests returned, mammals occupied every niche. In the trees, small climbers and jumpers. On the ground, burrowers and rodents. Near the water, distant ancestors of seals and whales. They spread, adapted, and multiplied. They did not need size to dominate. They ruled through expansion. Within just a few million years, the Earth teemed with them, a living network stretching across the planet. When the mighty fell, the clever simply multiplied. Dinosaurs had been cold-blooded, dependent on sunlight for warmth, but mammals, being warm-blooded, could live in darkness, in cold, and in night that allowed them to go anywhere, into forests, caves, even frigid mountains. The warmth within their bodies kept them alive through the long nights of the planet. When the sun was gone, their inner heat became their own private sun. As night descended, the new world was no longer silent. The rustle of rodents, the tiny calls of insect hunters, the faint wing beats of the first ancient bats. It was the symphony of young intelligence. No more roars, only the whispers of thinking life. The world no longer needed noise to prove it lived. It only needed a steady heartbeat in the dark. The mammalian brain grew so complex that they began to dream. Studies show that the REM cycle, the stage of dreaming, first appeared in early mammals. That means they did not just live, they imagined. They dreamed of forests, of food, and perhaps of safer places. When life began to dream, the Earth truly awakened. About 10 million years later, some small coastal mammals began adapting to water. They were the ancestors of whales. They still had legs, but they swam, hunted fish, and gradually their bodies lengthened. Their legs turned to fins. From land, they returned to the sea, continuing the journey that Mosasaurus had left unfinished. There are no true endings, only new beings continuing old stories. Within 20 million years, mammals diversified rapidly. From a small, humble lineage, they became the dominant life on Earth. Birds ruled the sky, fish ruled the sea, but the land now belonged to them. The once timid creatures that hid under the shadows of dinosaurs now walked boldly under the sun, writing a new chapter in the story of life. When Earth rebooted itself, its new code was written in the language of intelligence. Today, whenever you place your hand on your chest and feel your heartbeat, remember, it is the echo of those small creatures who once kept the world warm. From them came every mammal since: monkeys, elephants, whales, leopards, and humans. And within every dream, every thought, we still carry their first spark of fire. No crown lasts forever, But there are always heirs, those who rule not by horns or claws, but by curiosity and mind. Fact 30. From the forest's shadows to intelligence, the birth of the first primates. The wind whispers through the ancient forest, where the thick canopy weaves together a green roof of time itself. Among the branches, leaves rustle softly, and a small creature with large, round eyes sits in silence. It has no claws, no scales, only hands that can grasp and eyes that can look forward. It is one of the first primates, the distant ancestor of you and me. After millions of years of rebirth, the earth has turned green again, from North America to Africa, from Asia to South America. Forests spread across the planet. Amid those treetops, a group of small mammals found new refuge. They left the ground, climbed upward, and from there, changed forever. This was the beginning of the primates, creatures who could use their hands, observe their surroundings, and most importantly, think. Every civilization begins with a step upward, and that first step was taken on a tree. The earliest primates, like Plesiadapis and Taillardina, were tiny, only about 20 to 30 centimeters long. They lived among the trees, feeding on fruits, insects, and young leaves. Their most remarkable traits were flexible fingers and toes, forward-facing eyes, a brain larger in proportion to their bodies. They could cling, climb, and judge distance while leaping. It was intelligence born from motion. Each jump between two branches was an unconscious calculation of distance, strength, and angle. Sometimes, intelligence is simply the body learning how not to fall. Most animals have eyes on the sides of their heads, allowing a wide view, but lacking depth. Primates, however, brought their eyes closer to the center of their faces, giving them stereoscopic vision, the ability to judge distance and depth with precision. Vision became the center of perception, and from that point, images, light, movement began to translate into emotion. For the first time in history, a creature not only saw, but felt what it saw. While their feet still clung to the branches, the hands of primates became freer. Their fingers could grasp, hold, turn, and control. They picked fruit, peeled leaves, caught insects, and began to explore the world through touch. Hands became the windows of the mind, because every touch taught the brain something new. The first thoughts of humankind did not come from words, but from touch. Ancient primates had brains larger than any animal of similar size. Their sensory, motor, and memory centers developed rapidly. They didn't just remember where food was, they remembered how to return there. They didn't just recognize a scent, they recalled which fruit it belonged to. Memory created experience. Experience created choice. Choice was the first form of will. When memory was born, consciousness began to exist. High among the branches, primates lived in groups. They cared for one another, warned of danger, and shared food. This was the first form of social life among mammals. Affection, attachment, fear of losing one's kin, all emerged here. Fossils show that many individuals died close together, proving they lived and died as a group. When a creature learns to love, evolution moves beyond instinct. No more roars like in the Cretaceous. Instead, the chirping of insects, the calls of birds, the sound of falling leaves. In this silence, the primate brain had space to grow, to listen, observe, and contemplate. No longer running from predators, they learned to understand the world around them. Nature knew, for a being to think, it must first be still. The cries of primates slowly gained meaning. One call warned of snakes, another signaled food. Sound became symbol. Symbol became language. And from that moment, the earth began to hear its first words. Not yet sentences, but enough to share emotion. Language did not begin with letters, but with feelings shared. In the eyes of primates, the world was no longer just a place to live. It was something to watch, to question, to wonder about. The young played with leaves, stared at water, sometimes pausing to gaze at their reflections. That moment, when a creature first recognized itself in the stream, was when self-awareness was born. For the first time, the earth knew that it existed. Today, every human gaze still carries that ancient memory. Eyes that face forward, focused, thoughtful, dreaming. Hands that hold, that create. A mind that remembers, that loves. All of it began with those tiny forest dwellers 60 million years ago. When the first hand reached out to grasp a branch, it was more than a gesture of survival. It was the prologue of intelligence.